So, my next video is about the the history of the problem. And the problem that I chose for my country, Sri Lanka, is social stratification. And I feel like this is the basis of all their other problems. And if they could fix this, it could solve all the other problems. So social stratification is when two social groups don't get along, and they have the caste system in Sri Lanka, just like in India, and um, so there's a problem with the Tamils and the Sinhalese, and so the Tamils live, well, they were brought in by the European colonists to, uh, sorry, to um, work on the cash crops that they started, such as coffee and tea and all that stuff. And then when the British left, the Tamils were left there, but they had history because they had been there for a while. But the Sinhalese were there first, and they lived more in the cities. And so Sinhalese are, the more urban people, and Tamil tend to be rural. Um, and there's class differences between them. And in 1987, 83 was the start of the Sri Lankan Civil War, where it was the on and off fight between the liberation tigers of the Tamil. Um, so the main problem was, after the British left, they started their own government, and the Sinhalese were the majority, so they kind of took over, and they they their language was the main language. Their religion was the main religion. They kind of had more rights than the Tamils, and so that made the Tamils really angry. And so a war started, and it went on for years and years, and it was on and off, but it only just ended in 2009, and thousands of people died because of this war. So that's kind of the history of the problem. And so I think if they gave the Tamils more rights, which they're working on right now, but if they had given them more rights back then, the war probably never would have started, and their economy could be further, their people would be safer, there would be all sorts of issues that they have now that would be fixed. And, war reduces resources, and causes poverty, it can cause disease, kind of all of the 8 Millennium Development Goals. War gets in the way of that. And so, another big thing is education. But, if you have social stratification, where do you get teachers to teach them? How do you, if a Tamil is in the country and they can't learn to teach, because no one's willing to teach them, how are they going to teach others? So I just feel like social stratification is the main thing, that if they fix that, they could fix so much more. So that's the history of my problem for Sri Lanka, is social stratification. So